Austerity today is a package deal. It is a package deal as it's used in Europe when they talk about Greece, austerity package in Greece or in Spain or Italy. It's a package deal of two things, one appropriate and one inappropriate. So Greece is bankrupt. It's basically bankrupt. Can't pay back its debt. So the Europeans are saying to Greece, you need to reform your economy. And if you reform your economy, we'll lend you some more money to pay back your debts. And what they're demanding of them is what they're calling austerity. Two things. One, cutting government spending, which is the exact appropriate thing that the Greeks should be doing, and the Italians and everybody else, including the Germans and the Americans. Cutting spending, which is what a company does. What does a company do when it can't pay its debt? It fires people, it cuts spending, it sells plant and equipment, it raises money by shrinking. But then the other side of what the European Union is demanding of this country and what of these countries and what the IMF is raising taxes and increasing regulations, which is a more violation of rights, depresses the economy even further, and therefore is awful for the economy. So the one is good for the economy, cutting government, and it should include cutting regulations. The other is awful for the economy, raising taxes, increasing regulations. They package that into one package and they call it austerity, and then they're shocked. It doesn't work. A proper package to deal with countries going bankrupt is, and this, again, this is what the United States should adopt, massive shrinking of government spending, massive cutting of government expenditure, and at the same time, massive deregulation. And the consequence there would be a dramatic increase in private economic growth. Now, GDP is a bad number the way it's measured because it measures government spending as equivalent to private spending. It's basically a measure of consumption, and it treats government as a consumer. GDP is not the way one should measure economic growth. It's really the rise in the standard of living in the population. So yes, when government stops spending money, GDP theoretically shrinks. But more money is now in the private sector, and the private sector now starts investing, and economic activity increases in the private sector. It might take time for that increase to be reflected in GDP, but it is a healthy move, and therefore this austerity is a package deal. It's a bad package deal. It's a bad way to look at it. What government should be doing, cutting spending, no matter what impact it has on GDP, and cutting regulation, and actually, if they can, lowering taxes over time. That is what would really get these economies going and would make it possible for them to pay off at least some of the debt. Of course, they probably have to default on some of the debt, which I have no problem with. The people who lent the money made a mistake, evaded, closed their eyes to the fact that the Greeks and some of these other countries weren't producing anything to justify all this debt, and they should take a loss. That's, Greece should officially, legally, structurally go bust.